Hello, welcome back to RhomanysRealm. I'm Romany, and today is the first of my One Book July videos. I didn't do one last week because I was on holiday. I didn't go anywhere, but it was nice not to be working for a change. Crazy noises in the background, as usual, are supplied by the puppers. Hello, Miss Maddie. Hi, baby. Good girl. Settle down. And coffee is supplied by Costa. Not sponsored, but hey, Costa, if you want to. I'll use your mugs. How about that? Oh, so nice to be able to go to a drive-through and get gingerbread latte again. Can't tell you. Anyway, first off, what I'm going to show you today is based on the planning system that I've been using, and I say system loosely, ever since a few months ago when I decided, you know what, bullet journaling is just too much. It's too much. I don't want to be doing it. I decided I wanted to channel my creative energies into a more sketchbooking, more painting, more that kind of creative stuff, and occasionally journaling if I get a chance, rather than bullet journaling. Because what I found was I wasn't really going back and looking at my bullet journal, and if I'm not going back and looking at it, what's the point? I'd rather keep a journal that I actually go back and look at. So, bullet journal, oof, gone. I have been back to planning on a calendar and planning on lists. Now, one of the reasons I did that was because I thought, hey, you know what? Maybe I can condense what I need to do into repeated things on regular dates, which will make them easier to remember to do. Because most of what I do is repetitive. I've got a Patreon, I run a monthly class. Everything happens in a 3-monthly rollout, and it repeats 4 weeks, 3 times. So if that is as clear as mud, which it probably is, I did explain that quite lengthily in my last planning video. So if you go to, I don't know where the pop-up comes. Yeah, I think it's there. But it may not be. If not, well, even if, I'll put it in the description as well. My previous planning video, I showed you how I planned my 3-monthly term. Because I do, on Patreon, I do 3 months of 4 weeks, and then we have a week's break. Because I teach 3 sessions a week, 2 of them are live. I cannot keep that up without a break. It's not possible. So I schedule in a week's break for everybody, not just me, once every 3 months. So we end up with 4 terms, if you like. And we are currently setting up the summer term, July, August, September. So in order for you to see what I'm doing for the summer term, let me now switch around so you can see what I'm looking at. Voila. Okay, so like I said, this is exactly the same as I did in the previous video for April, May, June. So don't be confused by this. This is all exactly the same every 3 months. This is why I want to try to turn it into some kind of routine, schedule, something or other. Daily, monthly, weekly, I don't know. Maybe even 3 monthly. Maybe I can set out on the first day of the term and just get everything sorted out straight away and never have to worry about it again for 3 months. Who knows? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Add to that the fact that I have an admin, lovely Katie, who there's certain things, like if I ask her to set up a month's worth of Trello, she'll do that for me, and she knows what the format is. She knows how this works. And it just saves me the extra 40 minutes of setting up Trello cards when I could be doing something like working out what we're actually going to do in the session. So I do have that option to utilise her, but I also have to be mindful of the fact that when we've had a break week, she usually takes a week off her Patreon as well, which means when she comes back, like today is our first day back for both our Patreons, she's working on hers. She doesn't have time to mess about with mine. She won't have time to mess about with mine until next week. So I'm on my own this week. I can't just say, hey, Katie, can you do this for me? It's not going to happen until next week. I'm just procrastinating now is what I'm doing. I hate doing this. I hate doing this. It just, there's got to be an easier way. It's my point. And that's what I'm trying to find out. When we originally chose this particular topic for this year, I was like, routines, tracking, schedules, habits, I don't do that. But I was thinking purely in terms of me. In terms of my work, actually, I do have a schedule. It's quite a strict schedule. And if I can combine the to-do lists for that strict schedule into routines or repetitive task lists where I don't have to keep writing out the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, because that's really boring, and I could dedicate that hour to painting instead, then that frees up more of my creative time. And the more of my creative time I can free up, the more of my free time I can free up, because I don't have any. I've taken up sewing as a hobby because that then gives me time that I'm not working on anything. Because my default, if I'm not doing anything other than, watching YouTube or Netflix or whatever, is I'll be drawing. But I draw for a living and I need a break from that. So I've taken up sewing. I have not done any sewing in months. So that shows you how that's going. There's got to be a better way of doing this, and there's got to be an easier way of doing this, especially so with the fact that every Saturday for 3 months is a art club. Same time, same place, same everything. But for each one, I need to work out what it is that I do so that I can then group those together. I'm hoping that I can group it by day, then group it by week, then group it by months, and maybe even group it by 3 months. It might be that I can set up all of my art clubs for 3 months in one go using repeat calendars. If that's the case, that would be fabulous, because I wouldn't have to do it all in one go. I could just get it. I wouldn't have to do it every week. I could just do it all in one go, get it out of the way, and forget about it. Same with the podcast. I really hope I can do that. So I just need to write in what we're doing. So this is on the Thursdays, because this one, and these 3, and all of these are live. So you can see on the first week of the month, the live swaps to the Tuesday. The reason for that being that this is already like the 6th. I can't leave it until the 8th to do a full month Astro and Tarot, because it's not a full month by then, it's only 3 weeks. So that gets swapped over for the first week, but then everything else is the same. Live on Thursday, live on Saturday, podcast Tuesday. And it's just the podcast and the live on the first week that gets swapped around. So there should be a way of doing this and working out what I need to do for each one. Let's start with the easy ones. The art club. So if it's an art club, the art clubs are all the same. So 4 per month times 3 months. And for that, I need to set up the calendar. Not this calendar, Google Calendar. This is where I do my rough working out. I then write it all up, put in the astrology for the month, and then this goes to my patrons so they know what's coming up. But when I'm talking about setting up the calendar, I mean the Google Calendar, which they also have access to, that's got all the links and everything in. So, set up the calendar. Then I have to create the Zoom meetings. And change the passwords, because we have regular passwords that we use on a sort of rolling basis. It's easier for people to remember what they are then and get into class. Then I need to set up the YouTube stream because I stream my Zoom privately to YouTube so that if the Zoom doesn't record, which it usually does, I've got its YouTube backup. But also I've got a couple of people who prefer to look at the large screen because they've only got a phone to watch on. So they watch on the large screen on YouTube using their Google link, and then they chat to us on the phone. So I need to set that up, and then I have to link the YouTube to the Zoom. Now, this is where it causes an issue because I can set up all of this so that it automatically repeats for 3 months, skips the week I don't want, and then repeats again through to December. What I can also set up all my YouTube streams in advance. What I can't do is this bit, because if this is a repeat meeting, this has to wait until we've had one meeting in order to put the YouTube link in for the next one. I know, it's confusing. There might be another way of doing that, but I haven't found one yet. Everything that gets done post-class, which is as soon as the recording is finished, I upload it to my Vimeo so that it's ad-free. And then that's it. That's my job done. Katie does all the linking up and replacing the live stream with the downloadable version. So then we have the podcasts. Again, 4 per month times 3 months. And for that, I have to set up Anchor. No, let's do it in the same order. Set up the calendar. Set up Anchor. Record stream. Katie then edits it. I have to review it. And post it. And this can go round and round depending on how many times we need to edit. Katie is far faster at editing. She can edit a podcast for me in about 10 minutes. I then review it and tell her anything that needs changing, and she can do it almost straight away. Whereas if I have to edit it, it can take a week because I hate editing. I really do. I've mentioned that before, haven't I? I hate editing. That's why I record everything live. Anyway, so that's that. I'm already seeing repetitions. So setting up the calendar, setting up Anchor, creating the Zoom meetings, recording the streams. There's 4 of those over 3 months. That's 12 of those in total. 4 of these over 3 months. That's 12 in total that I should be able to set up in advance. The Tuesday stream, which is the first of the months, I just call it the Tuesday stream. There's 1 of those per month for 3 months. So there's only 3 of those. Again, we set up the calendar, create Zoom, password, getting repetition now, set up YouTube, and link. I ran out of room there. Okay, now I can already tell you that everything I do for the Thursday classes is exactly the same. But the Thursday classes are all different. That's the only change, is the Thursday classes are not all they're not all art club, they're not all podcast, they're individual sessions. So we've got tarot and shadow work. We do an open discussion, which is usually witchy stuff, but sometimes it's journaling, sometimes it's other stuff. And then we do an advanced astrology. This is advanced tarot as well. The podcast is basic tarot and astrology. So for Thursdays, I basically need to do the same as I do for the Tuesday class, but there are a different number of them. So Thursdays is 3 per month times 3 months, which is 9. 9 plus 3 is 12, so that's the other sessions there. Excuse if you can hear licking in the background. Maddie has pulled something out of somewhere and is chewing on it. So, advance. Oh, no, not writing up the list. I need to write this. Okay, so set up calendar, set up Zoom, password, set up YouTube, link YouTube. And again, that's one that I can't do all at once. This one I can do all at once, but these I can't because those are repeat meetings every week. Oh, well, I suppose if I repeat that no, because that's a different session every month. Belay that. I'm thinking out loud and I should be just shushing and only explaining what I'm actually doing. So you can see here that I'm getting lots of repeat things happening. This, because I've done it times 3 each time, actually covers the entire 3-month schedule. It doesn't look like a lot, but I can tell you that setting up just one of these sessions can take 15, 20 minutes. By the time you've got all the headers and worked, double checked what the session actually is, because I don't just put advanced tarot and shadow work, I actually write out the description of what we're doing for that session. By the time we actually get to that point, that's 15, 20 minutes. So 15, 20 minutes times 9 plus 3 is 12, so that's 3 12s of 36. 36 times 15 to 20 minutes. We'll be conservative and say 20 minutes. So 20, I can do 3 per hour. So that's 12. And bearing in mind how my brain works, the fact that I'm dyslexic, it's quite tiring for me to do even stuff like this. I start making mistakes like this, where I started writing out the title instead of what I needed to do. I can only concentrate for a certain amount of time. What I've been doing up to now is just setting up the calendar for 3 months. Setting up the Zoom and YouTube every week, and then linking and titles on the day it's due. And the one thing I've forgotten, of course, for all of these is that I also need to make a Patreon post. Which I don't always do. Sometimes Katie does these all in advance, and I can pre-schedule these. And I can save them as drafts until they're needed. I can pre-schedule all of those Patreon posts for an entire 3 months. Basically, I can pre-schedule everything. The only thing I can't do is link the YouTube to the Zoom until the day of the actual Zoom meeting. Because if I link it up before that, the Zoom, any Zoom that's broadcast goes to that YouTube. And I don't want to use a link that's set up for something else. So, question, can I get Zoom to somehow recognize or create a link? Can Zoom create its own link? Privately. I know it can do it, like I record through Zoom when I do a live stream on YouTube normally. But for that, I just go into my own personal broadcast, which is set up to stream live to YouTube publicly. I don't know if I can do that privately. That's what I need to find out. If I can, then all of this can be made much, much simpler because I can do it all in one go. But I'm tempted to keep this format. The question is, how much admin do I want to do on my first day back after a holiday? Do I want to spend my entire day doing planning and organising and this for the full 3 months and just get it out of the way? Or would I rather do what we absolutely need now and then work on maybe a week's worth of stuff at a time? Because once these 3 are done, I can set up these 3 and link and set up the links. As soon as this one's finished, I can do that one. As soon as that one's finished, I can do that one. As soon as that one's finished, I can do that one. So maybe that's the way to do it. And then I could get Katie to do all the Patreon ones while I do the Trello ones, which I also didn't put on here. See, this is why. This is why I make sure that I've got lists, because I would have forgotten that. And then I would have been like, nobody knows what's going on because there's no Trello. Trello is where I keep the list of my classes for those who are not paying through Patreon, because Patreon is only a payment option. It's not like other people's Patreons. Patreon is a standalone thing, but it's basically my When Frogs Sing class split into so many weeks because that happened to be the format I already did. Okay. I think I explained that in the previous video. So again, if you need more information on that to understand what I'm talking about, go watch the previous video. So now I think what I need to do is break this up. Potentially, every Monday, normally I have Mondays off. Sunday is my day off. I'd never do it. My Sundays are sacrosanct. I'm like Lestat. My Sundays are sacrosanct. It's not happening. But I do have one other day off during the week, and it doesn't, normally I've been doing Monday, but what tends to happen is that Monday afternoon I do my planning, and then Friday afternoon I take off. So I'm thinking maybe I should just schedule Monday morning off and Friday afternoon off, and maybe that will work better. I like to finish early on Fridays, and I like to start late on Mondays. So but I've got to work in a day off somewhere. I can't work 90 hours a week. Okay. I think what I need to do with this now is to sit down with some sheets, possibly some Post-it notes that have every single version of this. So instead of just having set up calendar times 9, set up calendar times 12, set up calendar times 12, set up calendar times 3, I actually put all of those 36 points of set up calendar into one, work out how long it's going to take, and then schedule that as a 3-monthly thing. And then later on, if I find that doing it 3-monthly actually only doesn't take me an hour, because sometimes jobs, if you're not swapping between tasks, they go quicker. So maybe if I'm setting up all the calendars together, setting up 3 months at one go will only take me 45 minutes, whereas setting up 1 month 3 times would take overall an hour. Does that make sense? If you're not swapping between tasks, sometimes it goes quicker. So I'm thinking if I can do 3 months quicker, what's the potential then for doing maybe 6 months or even the full year in advance? And would that be even quicker? My brain hurts now, and this is why I don't like doing all of this in one go. And why I tend to get to this point and then say, right, I'm just going to write this up. Then I'm going to go and do my astrology, and then I will worry about the rest of it another day. This is what happens. This is where I get to every single time, because I don't know how long I've been doing this for. I would guesstimate about 40 minutes or so, plus the time I took to prepare this in advance. So maybe an hour, hour and a half. And my brain is already at the point where it's just dribbling out of my ear and going, I don't want to do maths anymore. This is too complex. It's too many numbers. Okay. I'm going to stop this here, get this video up, and come back to you at some point, either later this week or next week, when I've pulled together what I think I can do in groups. That's the plan, Stan. That's the plan. I can see lots of potential, like maybe in the first month I could set up all the calendars, and then I could set up all of July's sessions and all of August's sessions and all of September's sessions and do all of the planning on the Mondays in July, which then frees up my Mondays in August and September. Contrary-wise, every time I set up or finish a session, I could then automatically set up the next session, which is, I've tried that before and it didn't work. But, you know, there's never any harm in revisiting something if you're going to do it a different way. And I don't normally run on repetitive tasks and to-do lists. I've only ever tried trackers before. I can't do trackers. I'm sorry, I just can't. I've tried the Alistair method. I just can't. The problem with all of them is that I just don't tick things off. And then I don't know where I'm up to. And I end up writing things on Post-its. And then the Post-its get lost. And we're back to, why don't we just start a bullet journal? And then the bullet journal takes over and I spend more time doing bullet journaling than I do doing this. And that defeats the purpose. I know. I think I need to break this down into exactly what I need to do. And I'm thinking that instead of doing it longhand, I might just throw it in an Excel spreadsheet and do it that way, and do it on Google Drive. Because if I do it in an Excel spreadsheet, it will be way faster because I can copy and paste. Who doesn't love copy and paste? I can rearrange things and reorder things much faster. And also, when I finalized it, there's already a copy there for Katie and I can just print it out. So I'm not going to call it digital planning, but I might end up with a digital routine that may end up on Excel, where either myself or Katie will go in when we've got time and say, you know, I've got an hour, I've got nothing to do, I'll go and set up such and such. So, you know, go and do that. I don't know. I just know that I need to get this more streamlined, and that's what I'm aiming for. So for me, it's not about creating a habit, because I already have the habit. I come to work, I do my stuff, and I can't set up a session, or I can't set up a session until it's scheduled, and I can't decide what I'm going to do in a session until the session is set up, and I can't run a session until I've decided what I'm going to do in a session. So I have to do this. It's not like I have to create a habit out of it to do it at a certain time or anything like that. I don't like having habits. The only habit I have at the moment is that I'm doing my 365 sketch challenge, which I did up to the 30th of June, and then I scheduled a few days off because I'm very aware that I burn out if I try and do everything all at once. I had a week off at the end of April, I think, or sometime around then, and I've just had like 4 or 5 days off now, and I'm back to it today. But I also need to plan that in and work out what the dates are for everything and put that in the calendar. Because otherwise I will look at the calendar and go, what number am I on? What day is it? Have I done one for yesterday? Did I post it on Instagram? I don't know. Yes, that's what happens. But I have a solution for that, and I will do that in a separate video, because I think I know how to fix that now. We'll see. Ugh, this is making my brain hurt. I'm going to go and finish my coffee, finish my sketch for today, and then come back to this, because it's only 5:30. I've got plenty of time to do this. Tomorrow's session needs to be set up, but honestly, even if that's all I get done today and I come back to it on Tuesday morning or Wednesday, that's not a major issue. I can schedule things on Thursday. That's not a problem. This is one of the reasons I have sessions every other day instead of having 2 back to back, because that way, if anything gets in the way, if I have an emergency, if I have a sick day, it doesn't matter because everything's set up already. Anyway, that's what I'm doing for One Book July. And as far as the one book, I'm not. I know. I don't have a book yet. Maybe I will have a book. Maybe I will have a filofax with my lists in. Maybe I will just have a printout that I put on my pinboard. I don't know. I haven't decided on the format yet. I'm not really using a planner at the moment. I'm basically just writing things on a post-it and sticking it in my sketchbook, because my sketchbook I check in with every single day. And at least if I do that, I know that because I'm checking in on it every day, I'm always doing the review of, what have I done, what haven't I done. I see the post-it and I go, oh, I've done that. I cross it off. It's like an automatic reaction. It shouldn't be this complicated. Why is it so complicated to make a list? It's not complicated to make a list. I just don't want to have to make the same list over and over again every flipping day. That's pointless. So let's see how this goes, shall we? Wish me luck. Speak to you again soon. Bye, guys.